T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
That's right. You get the Horn Show. Monday Night Football reaction, baby. Game just ended. Denver Broncos, LA Chargers. I don't know if anyone else feels this way. I still want to call them the San Diego Chargers, but they are the LA Chargers. And look, folks, it was not a well-played game. It was a close game. So, we've got that going for us. But not a particularly well-played game. It does go into overtime, and Russell Wilson and the Broncos lose again. And this time the Chargers managed to pull out in overtime. It was a close game. The Broncos started this game with a 10-0 lead in the first quarter. Then, as the game goes on, Chargers go on a 13-3 run and, end up tying this game 13-13. It's a battle back and forth. Looks close at the end of the game. Nothing can really happen. Nobody can close it out. And then we go into overtime. Overtime was a little bit of a zoo. Some loose balls at the end of regulation, loose balls in overtime, some turnovers and things. But, I think at the end of the day, Chargers are able to close this out with a field goal from Dustin Hopkins. And I will say their kicker, Dustin Hopkins, really, maybe the hero of the day out there, very brave, manages to go out and make something happen in difficult circumstances, suffering from a leg injury, and is able to push through that leg injury. And you really could tell this guy was in some real pain. He's kicking relatively short field goals, but he kicked multiple field goals. I believe a total of 4 field goals kicked for the game. And this guy's kicking and then just falling down in pain after these kicks. And they're short kicks. 35, 31, 37, I believe. And then the game winner was maybe a 28. I don't have that in front of me. But short field goals. And he was in a tremendous amount of pain. But, hey, didn't miss a single kick. Manages to go out there and ice the game for them. So, I mentioned earlier it was not a well-played game. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, Russell Wilson started the game 10 for 10. But ends the game 15 for 28, 188 yards, 1 touchdown, got sacked 4 times for a loss of 28 yards, ended up with a quarterback rating for the game of 86.6. And believe it or not, he kind of really sort of outplayed Justin Herbert. One thing's for sure, the biggest thing that the Chargers need to be able to do is really get this run game going, because Justin Herbert threw the ball 57 times, and as a general rule, I don't care what team you are, that's not a recipe for success, throwing the ball 57. Even if you're the Green Bay Packers and you got Aaron Rodgers, you should not be throwing the ball 57 times. And when you look at it, he went 37 of 57, but only 238 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. His average on passing was 4.2 yards. Got sacked twice. But really was under a lot of duress, a lot of pressure. That Denver defensive front was actually playing really well. And so Justin Herbert ends with a 66.3 quarterback rating. And look, they were doing some good things, but, if you look at the rushing, Austin Eckler, 14 carries for 36 yards. Austin Eckler's a good player, too good to end up with those type of stats. He was very involved in the passing game, 10 receptions, 47 yards. So you like to see that. So he really impacted this game in a lot of ways. But Sony Michel, 8 carries for 28 yards, had a long of 7. And so total rushes for the Chargers, 24 carries, 73 yards, and 1 touchdown on the rushing side. In comparison to the Broncos, Latavius Murray, trying to really step up into that team. Look, Latavius is a guy that's kind of bounced around a little bit, but he's a really good running back. Had some issues when he washed out with the Saints, played well at times for the Ravens. Now he's on this Denver team. And, if he can really show that he's a guy that can lean on, because it appears that Melvin Gordon is just out. He really spent most of the second half of this game tonight standing on the sideline watching. I know he's not happy about it. But it's just not clicking. So Latavius Murray ends with 15 carries for 66 yards. And then Melvin Gordon ends up 3 carries for 8 yards. I mean, just shocking, what's happened with him. So I can't imagine that Melvin Gordon is going to be with this team for too much longer. It wouldn't make sense to, for Denver. If you can get anything for him at this point, you really should. Russell Wilson, 4 carries for 23 yards. Denver receiving, I mean, the high man was Jerry Jeudy, 3 catches for 54 yards. That was the best that they could do. And a couple guys with 2 catches, Cortland Sutton, 2 catches for 14 yards. It just wasn't happening across the board. And again, this is considered, you started this game and you thought, hey, maybe this is going to be, and it sounds crazy to say it, but like old school Russell Wilson, right? An old Russell Wilson game where good things are happening and he's actually, making plays. I mean, again, he starts the game, 10 for 10. That's saying something. And a lot of strengths there. But again, it ends up being kind of what we're seeing as normal Russell Wilson now. Not in the glory days by any stretch. So, again, it's just hard to really explain what's going on with this team. And again, with all the talent they have, you're putting up a total of 16 points in a Monday Night Football game that went into overtime. The Chargers certainly, didn't light the world on fire, but man, comparatively, they have too much talent in Denver to be playing the way that they're playing. I mean, that's the bottom line. I think everybody sees and understands that. It's a little bit of a mystery as to why they're having the issues that they're having, but they're definitely having them. And, they're going to have to really figure some things out here pretty rapidly, because if they can't, then, I don't know who exactly is going to be the person who, is going to go. But I can tell you, it's probably not going to be Russell Wilson. The guy signed for way too much money, has way too much going on, to be able to you're not going to be able to move him. The contract's too big anyway, even if you wanted to. And so, that's not going to be an option. And, at the end of the day, Nathaniel Hackett, it's really interesting. If you said Nathaniel Hackett was going to come in and, again, knowing the pedigree, knowing that this is a guy who, coached with, Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and really what the resume looks like for this guy, you would really expect that good things are going to happen. And the reality is very different, because, now you end up in a situation where if this was any other coach without that resume, he's just not long for this world, right? There's just no way that you could really think that he's going to be the guy that you're going to stay with long term. It just doesn't seem that way. I mean, look, I think they're trying to make something work here, and I'm sure things will be able to improve. You don't want to completely freak out when we're 6 games into the season at this point, but it's certainly looking right now for Nathaniel Hackett.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy.
That's it. You're not that guy, right? You're not who they thought. It was really interesting comments coming out of Denver this week by John Elway, where he mentions that they were really interested in some other coaches, and that it really came down and really talked about how well Kevin O'Connell, the coach now for the Minnesota Vikings, how impressed they were with him, how it really came down to the wire on who they were going to go with, and they end up going with Nathaniel Hackett. And you see what's happening in Minnesota with the Vikings, and you think, boy, I don't know, if you're the Broncos front office, man, you're probably not loving your situation right now. And unfortunately, when you really go into the specifics, this is kind of, they made their own bed, right? I mean, you chose to sign Russell Wilson to a massive contract, which, people somewhat questioned at the time, but now, of course, it's not looking good. You brought in a Nathaniel Hackett to work with him, with the belief that, he would be able to mentor this guy and create an explosive, high-powered offense, not unlike what they've had in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. And so far, that has completely fallen on its face. And you're not sure who to blame. I don't know if this is all Russell Wilson, but I also know it's not all Nathaniel Hackett either. At the end of the day, Russell Wilson still has to be able to execute on the plays that are being called. And if he's playing really poorly consistently, then that's a problem. And, and then you look at the, relative inability to be able to get a run game going for Denver as well. And again, we talked about it already, but you've got Latavius Murray, who is doing the best that they have there. And outside of that, when you've got a Melvin Gordon who's just standing on the sideline, a guy who makes decent money, it just really starts to be very questionable in terms of, what they're doing there and what the game plan is moving forward, right? So I think that's going to be, some of the things that we're just going to have to continue to look at, is to really understand what is it that's going on, right? Where can this be changed? And I have no idea where that can be changed. I don't know what can be done in that set of circumstances in order to be able to make something happen. So, the turnaround here needs to be pretty significant, and it needs to happen awfully quickly. And I don't see any real signs of that. And when you look at a Denver Broncos team that a lot of people, now, again, if you watch the show, most of us were not high on Denver going into this season. That division that they play in is certainly not easy. But guess what? It's not looking as tough as everyone thought it was going to be going into the season. And they're part of the reason for that. I mean, this is a Denver Broncos team that's 2-4 at this point through 6 games. I know it's only 6 games, but you didn't expect to be in this circumstance if you're them. No doubt it's disappointing for them. And it's going to be, a struggle for them to be able to dig out of. The schedule isn't completely killer for them, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for them, moving forward. So they're going to need to make a lot of progress. Some things are going to need to change there. And I don't know what they're going to need to overhaul exactly to be able to get it to change. But one thing's for sure, you've got to be able to establish a run game. And if they can't establish a run game and you let the opposing defense just tee off on the pass rush and on Russell Wilson, he's showing that he's not able to make decisions right now to be able to overcome the blitz or pressure. He was a little bit more active, I felt, tonight, willing to put the ball in his hands a little bit more and try to push the ball downfield a little bit and run the ball as well. But unfortunately, he still didn't end up being effective at doing those things. So it really didn't end up, being particularly impactful. He ran the ball 4 times for 23 yards. So you're not going to complain about, the average there or anything like that. Maybe he needs to do a little bit more. Again, he's nursing an injury right now, conveniently based on the criticism that he's received, nursing a shoulder injury, a lat injury. And so, you can blame that, but, he wasn't playing well prior to the injury either. So it's really hard to be able to know, what that's going to end up looking like and what needs to happen there with that team. So anyway, there's a lot of interesting things. The Chargers certainly, kind of the same deal. Really not seeing where anyone would have thought that we'd be seeing them be. But again, we know they've been beat up. We know they've had some real injury issues. And so, we see plenty of evidence that they will get past it. For them, it's really just a matter of holding on through this early part and hoping that they're able to get more, healthy as time goes on. But they're 4-2. So when you look at where they are, I mean, again, even fighting through injuries and challenges, they still have 4 wins right now. And you'd take 4-2 through 6 games if you're them. Even if you're healthy, you'll honestly take that record. Any team is going to be fairly pleased with that 4-2 record that they're sitting on, and they should only get better as the season goes on and as players start to get healthy. So, I do see opportunity for them to continue to improve. And the Chargers are a team that's still now under the radar, but they're quietly 4-2. Everyone's talking about the Bills and the Chiefs. Ravens have certainly fallen off with a couple losses, but they're leading in every single game. So I fully anticipate things starting to sort themselves out for that team as well. You got some talented teams in the AFC, and you have a Chargers team that's just kind of like, below the radar in their division, and working their way through it. And you got to believe they'll probably end up being in contention there in the end as well. So anyway, interesting game. Again, not particularly well played game, not necessarily a particularly fun game to watch. But again, you're not going to take anything away from what the Chargers were able to do. Again, heroic play by the kicker there, and being able to go through and kick, I believe, 4 field goals in the game, Dustin Hopkins. So, really nice job nursing a severe injury. You saw him with the leg band, I think, heated and possibly, a pulse band there that he was wearing nonstop on the sideline, getting ready for his opportunities. And, he didn't let the team down, and that's the most that you can ask for in that situation out of that guy. So really, really hats off to him. Outside of that, want to let everybody know, You Get the Horns show this week. We are coming to you live Wednesday night. It's going to be starting at about 7:30 Eastern time. Full live spectacular. We're super excited about it. For only the second time, it looks like we're going to be having our full complement of people. The 4 horsemen, all of us will be on the show here, and really excited to be able to do it. Excited to talk with everyone. Really looking forward to being able to see what everybody's up to, and really want to be able to have some engagement, with the crowd and the fans. So really hope you're going to be able to join us for that. That's 7:30 Eastern time, live streaming on YouTube. Trying to work out live streaming on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. But I will say, for our YouTube subscribers, make sure you check out our TikTok. It's the exact same handle. It's You Get the Horns Show on TikTok. Okay, so check us out on there. We've got a lot of exclusive content for YouTube subscribers that we're going to be telling our TikTok subscribers about. And we've got a lot of interesting and great content on YouTube for our TikTok audience to be able to go to. So, look, we try to keep it interesting. We always keep it honest, bring a lot of great information and analysis. We're talking sports. We're talking life lessons. We're having fun. We're a group of friends that have been friends, all of us, for well over 20 years, some of us over 30 years at this point. And, we just basically hang out, catch up, have fun. We do it every week. And, and we have a great time, and we want everyone to be able to enjoy us. So we have over 1,000 followers on TikTok at this point. So, not a ton, but growing. And we certainly want to be able to see our YouTube audience grow the exact same way. So really, really encourage you. Check us out. And for those of you who are on YouTube, please, if you subscribe, make sure you turn on the notifications, because we're dropping content all the time, right? And, we shoot long form, and please look at our library. You'll see 1.5 to 2.5 hour shows. We do those weekly. And then we have a steady stream of content that we'll pull from that, or even from other conversations, things like, this live I'm doing right now. And so there's always content, daily, multiple times a day sometimes. So make sure you have your notifications turned on. It's not good enough just to subscribe. Subscribing is great. We want to make sure you're able to see the content when it comes out. Some of the stuff that we do is kind of evergreen content. You'll be able to check in on it anytime, but some of it is timely. And, in order to be able to get the stats, the information, the things that you're going to want to be able to talk about, around the water cooler at work, so to speak, this is going to be the place to get it, but it's timely information. You want to get it when it comes out. And we're there where the action is, man. Our buddy Hefe, he's at the Miami Hurricanes games, on Saturdays. I was just up for the Baltimore Ravens game. I was up in Baltimore to be able to see the Sunday Night Football game between the Ravens and the Bengals. We're in the middle of the action. We've got a ton of stuff happening. We have a lot of connections with teams. We keep our ear to the ground. We know a lot of stuff that's happening. We break a ton of news on this show days before it's picked up in the mainstream. And so really, really good for you to be able to get that information early. And in fact, I just posted a clip recently where, Hefe, our buddy, was talking about, Deion Sanders potentially taking over at Georgia Tech. And now you're seeing this. I saw Bleacher Report, I think earlier today, did an article about this. And some of the Florida newspapers and news outlets reported on this over the weekend. And I posted a clip. You can see it on both our YouTube and our TikTok, that we were talking about that in September. In September, we were naming Georgia Tech as the likely spot for Deion Sanders to move to. And now everybody has Georgia Tech on this very short list. The difference is that they're talking about it now as we move into mid and late October. And we were talking about it September 27th. So we're 3 weeks before the mainstream media is talking about it. We're already discussing it. We've broken a ton of other stuff. Our buddy Jeff, ear to the ground. I mean, this guy has his absolute ear to the ground when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and was telling us, gosh, I think 2 weeks into the season that they're going to be pulling Trubisky. They'll put in Pickett. He picked exactly the game. I think he ended up being off by 1 week, but picked the exact game that Trubisky would be pulled and Pickett would be in. And it ended up being off by 1 week. One game essentially is it. And so, we're there. I've made some calls on some things that were going to happen. Jason Pierre-Paul getting signed by the Ravens, broke that a week before anyone was talking about it. So we're constantly talking about this stuff. That's the point. And so there's a ton of information on the show, a ton of value. So for those of you who are watching and you want to keep up, you want to understand what's going on, you want some interesting stats and some different perspective. We have the ability to bring that to you. So along with some great stories, funny as hell content, and just really having a great time hanging out and talking with each other. So really encourage you. And when you watch some of our clips and you enjoy those, I'm going to encourage all of you as well. Check out the long form content. Seriously, give it a chance. It's long. I get it. But trust me, you're going to enjoy it. So next time you're in the car, right, just remember, when you get in the car, you got a little bit of a drive, put it on, see what you think. I promise you're going to be entertained. And then send us a comment and let us know what you think. Send it on TikTok, send it on YouTube, comment on our videos, whatever you want to do. But really let us know. I really think that we'll win some of you over who maybe don't want to sit there. You say, oh, man, I don't want to listen to a 2-hour, video or a 2-hour show. You don't have to listen to it all at once, but I really think that you'll get some enjoyment out of it. So, check us out, man. We're having a good time. We'd like all of you to be able to be a part of it. So come hang out with us. Again, this week it's going to be Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern. And we're going to be rocking and rolling and having really, really good time here. So really want as many people as possible to be able to join us, and really hope that you're able to be there with us. So again, we'll probably be talking a little bit of sports, but a lot of things that aren't going to be sports related as well. So we sprinkle in a ton of different information and kind of move all over the place. So, if you tune in, you hear us talking about sports, that might last for 2 minutes, and then it might move into something totally different, a crazy situation that happened to us, some sort of life situation that we may want your advice on or something like that, and try to get feedback. So, seriously help us out. It means a lot to us that any of you listen to us. And we really value that, and we're going to try to continue to make great content and make it worth your time. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Again, Wednesday night, look for it. Turn on your notifications on YouTube. Be ready to rock with us, and we're going to have some fun. Can't wait to talk to all of you soon. In the meantime, have a great night.